Hey sports card fans, it's John, Boggs fan, back with another video. Hope you're all doing well. The other day I was looking through my eBay watch list, saved list, seeing which cards were going to be coming up in the next day or two. And I thought of something that I thought might make a good video to do. Now, it all involves around having a budget or collecting on a budget. Now, I've done some videos in the past. I know there are others that have done similar videos of, how to collect on a budget. And the main thing is to have a budget to, after you've handled your living expenses and savings and everything you need to do personally and for your family, figure out what you can spend safely on the hobby and try to stick to that budget as best you can, because it's never good to go beyond your means and overspend on a hobby that may negatively impact other areas of your life. Okay, so with that said, let's start from the assumption that we all have our own collecting budget. Now, some of us may have larger budgets, smaller budgets than others, but everyone, pretty much, should live within that hobby budget. All right, so from there, where do you go? And again, I was looking through my eBay listings, and typically, usually at the end of the day, I check out, I have various saved searches, so I see which new cards have been, that show up, within the last, day or so on eBay in any particular category. And I'll go through and I'll save that one and I'll save that one and I'll save that one and so on. And so I have this watch list. And I noticed that, at least what I do, and this is what this video is about, is there are 3 keywords that I use when deciding on whether I hit that buy it now or decide to go after, put a bid in on an auction for a particular card. And that is need, want, and like. So my watch list is full of cards that I would like to have. Okay. Now, depending on where I am within my monthly budget, I may decide to go after a card that I like. Hey, I'd like to have that. That's a cool card. I like to have that. Well, again, I take that in context of, and again, I'm really, really strict with my budget. So I know how much I have in a given, say, pay period or month. And obviously, it's a lot harder early in the month when you have a larger amount than when you get toward the end of the month and that budget is now, usually for me, at least close to being or pretty much all spent. But it really is more important when you're early on in that budget, at least for me. So I'll see a card show up. And again, it's one of those that I hit watch, save, because, hey, that's a cool card. I'd like to have that card. My immediate thought is, okay, is this truly a like card? Is it just a like card? If it is just a like card, then I start going further down in my watch list, ones that are ending 2 days from now, 3 days from now, 5 days from now, and so on. And then I compare that to some of those other cards and I say, okay, this is a like card. And again, it all depends on the price. Okay, if I'm going for a top short print image variation that may cost me $5, I may not be breaking a sweat over it. But let's just say I'm going after, a fairly high-end Wade Boggs card or a really nice vintage card that's gonna, eat a decent amount of chunk out of my budget for the month. I have to think, okay, is this just a like card to me? Or does it reach the next level of importance within my collecting focus, which is want? Okay, so want to me gives a little bit more strength or importance to that card. I can go to a card show. I can flip through listings on eBay and say, oh, I'd like that one, like that one, like that one, like that one. I don't have the money to just buy everything I like. All right. So for me, it's actually fairly rare that I go after a like card. Again, if it's a couple dollar card, if it's a Boggs card, I'm missing a base card for something that's going to cost me a few bucks. Again, I'm not worried about that. I'm talking about the cards that are, you know, will cost me a decent amount of money related to my budget. Right, so keep that in mind. So I let so many cards go that either I don't hit buy it now and the time runs out, or someone snatches before I have a chance to act on it, or it's an auction and I just say, you know what, that was a like card. I don't, it doesn't even rise to the level of want. So want, again, is that next step up from like. Now want for me, it's a little harder to define. Want typically is one that I'm focused on the card or a project that I'm working on. Again, either getting another Boggs card from my collection that I don't have, short print image variation, although those cards, again, don't really fall into this discussion. So let's just pass those by for a moment. But vintage cards. So it's typically the vintage cards for me, at least right now, that I have to categorize as to like, want, and need. Wants are ones where they're sort of part of my overall, hey, collecting Hall of Fame vintage, vintage cards of Hall of Famers. So I'll occasionally find one that, isn't one where it's like, wow, I really, really need, which is the highest level, which I'll get to in a moment. I may not need that card, but it's one that I really, really want. Okay. Those are the ones that I may hit the buy it now or try to be competitive in an auction. So I have another project going on, and most of you know, is the 100 cards for $100,000. Now for me, I have placed those cards at a higher priority than the project of just collecting vintage cards of Hall of Famers. All right. So I have my big 100 card list, and then I don't know how many there are, probably several thousand or whatever over the years in vintage of Hall of Fame cards. Probably, I don't know, I don't have a whole list, probably several thousand. Anyway, so I'll be looking at a card. Okay, it's beyond like, and it's a want. Again, I categorize it and I decide, all right, this is a want card. It may not be a need card, but it'll be one that I decide to go after. And of course, the needs. The needs are, again, in my collecting focus, those 100 cards for $100,000. Or in my Wade Boggs collection, if there is a card that fits, I've been looking for this one card that fits a gap in my checklist or whatever, and I finally see it on eBay and I have the wherewithal to go after it, that would reach the criteria of need. But there are very, very few cards that are out there that I would put on a need list. And so it's my way of prioritizing, again, within my budget. There's so many cards out there. And again, if you don't have a focus, or even if you do have some sort of focus in your collection, you're going to find cards that you can't get all of them. So again, try to prioritize into the like group, want group, and need group. And I think you'll find that you'll realize that some of those cards, yeah, they're the likes. Hey, I want it. There's a need or a want card that's coming up a couple days later, and I want to go after that. So I'm just going to let that like card go, and then focus on that want card that's coming up and see, and hopefully you get it. And then there'll be the occasional need card that is really important for your collection, one that you've been either saving up for or have always wanted. It's those few cards that for you and your collection are really important to have as part of your collection. You've always wanted them, whatever. And again, for me, that's probably that 100 cards for $100,000. Those are ones that I've identified that those are ones that I would really, really, really like to have, I guess, need in my collection. So again, hopefully that gives you, I know I rambled on a little bit. I didn't quite take some notes. It's sort of just off the cuff here. But just some thoughts I had on, again, how to collect sports cards when, within a budget, but then within that budget, categorize the cards that you come across in level of importance, from like to want to need. And I think you'll find that it may be easier for you to determine what cards to go after and what not, and stay within that budget that you have set for your collection. So again, just my general thoughts. Hopefully it made sense to you. Hopefully you picked up some good pointers. Would appreciate your thoughts in the comments. Is this something that you already follow? Is this provided a new way for you to think about how to collect within the budget that you've set for yourself for the hobby? So that's all I have for you today. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.